Welcome back to the episode of Unranked Podcast. Another week closer to football season. What we're going to be doing this week. Last week went through the Michigan football schedule and kind of gave our thoughts on where we thought they'd finish overall for the season. This time, with the Lions, we're going to go through the schedule. Obviously, got 17 different games. So I think what we're going to start with, this time around is just the floor and the ceiling from a record standpoint. I personally kind of think that the floor could be around 10-7. I kind of feel like from that standpoint, we'd have to, I don't even want to say the I word, but I think something kind of drastic would have to happen for us to, have that type of season. And I feel like the floor, could be like a 12, 13 win season, potentially a 1 seed. And that would essentially show that we, are hitting the ground, hitting the ground running, picking up where we left off last year, and just kind of, yeah. I mean, I think that's really kind of where we sit at, to where I can see this team either going 10-7 or 12-5, 13-4. A little bit of a tougher schedule this year. But yeah, I'll kick it over to you. Just kind of want to see your thoughts when it comes to floor and ceiling for our Lions this year.
I tend to agree with you. Unless something catastrophic happens, I do think it's that 10-7 is probably about the floor. Probably bringing the best team in that we've ever depth chart, at least that we've seen our Lions have in the 25 years or so of football I've been watching. So it's just magical time. But I agree with you. Just the depth of the squad, having one of the best coaching staffs, top to bottom. Having arguably like 2.5 head coaches on the as far as our top 3 guys in charge. Yeah, Ben Johnson came back again. Aaron Glenn, a lot of experience, and then Dan Campbell entering this is year 4 for him. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. Somewhere around there, I'm hoping is the worst case scenario, and the sky's the limit. I think some dominoes fall right. Some players get it together. We could be looking at 14-3, 15-2 maybe, which sounds insane, but obviously it matters the most come January. So,
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and just kind of dive in here. Probably won't do a ton of like win-loss. I think best way to kind of go about it, just kind of talk about each game week to week, our thoughts around it. Maybe kind of throw in our thoughts around if it could be a easy dub or a slug here and there. So we'll start off with rematch of our first playoff win in 30 years at the time. Yep. We got the Rams rolling back in, got Stafford coming back in. That place gonna be rocking. I'm sure they're looking forward to booing him and his wife again. I personally feel like Aaron Donald's out of the picture. They just traded one of their best defenders. At linebacker. They got a little bit of injury issues, suspension issues on the O-line. And I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but with it being Sunday night, first game at Ford Field, I could see the Lions being one that we pull out to kind of start the season strong.
No, I agree with you on that. I do think it's going to be a bit of a early measuring stick to see what these young corners are made of. Yeah. See if that defense, all the money we spent on defensive backs, is that going to pay dividends here, or is Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua just going to have a field day, a career day against us. So I do think it's a bit of a measuring stick right out the gate to see, against a gunslinger, can you guys, in your first debut in the NFL, how do you look? How do you look against experienced receivers? How do you look against a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Stafford? So I think that's kind of the biggest test. And obviously Ben Johnson's going to have all type of plays cooked up. J-Mo's going to be juiced up. Full squad. I'm looking forward to people making big plays. But
for sure.
I think that's the big thing is right out the gate against a gunslinger. We're gonna get to see what them corners are made of.
Absolutely. And you got, really it's a revamped defense overall. Carlton Davis coming from the Bucks. D-line got like Marcus
Reader.
Reader. I don't know if Reader be ready for that game. But we got some other pieces, and you expect these guys like Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, to kind of take them steps forward. And like you said, with Terry Arnold and Rakestraw, kind of see what they can be made of very early as well. So after that, we going really just kind of a similar schedule what our playoffs looked like last year. We got a couple teams that it's hard to beat a couple teams in a row, beat two teams in a row. I know they're going to definitely be gunning for us. I personally feel like, we can start this season off 2-0. I just feel like we saw what we were able to do with a pretty bad secondary last year. We were able to handle the Buccaneers for the most part. I think it ended up still going down to a one-score game. That's a lot of NFL games end up ending anyways. But I feel confident that this is a game we could also get as well at home. And overall, it's a great start to be able to start off your season with 3 of your first 4 games at home.
Yeah, no, I agree. Good way to catch some momentum. Baker, good Baker, bad Baker. You don't know which batch you're going to get, but here in week 2, I bet you he'll still be feeling pretty good about himself, which means you're down to get a ball or 2 from him, and then just take care of the rest. I think I agree with you on that. Another dub. Feel better about this one than I do the Rams. Even if the Rams are a little banged up, I just think I don't believe in Baker that much. So I feel like we'll be 2-0 heading down to Arizona
for sure. This is where it can get kind of tricky, going on the road for the first time this season. I'm a big Kyler Murray fan. Think he's a great quarterback. They've new coaching or second year of the new coaching staff. Drafted arguably the best receiver in the draft. Could be tricky. Could be a dicey game. I still do feel like we just have a better roster, better personnel that they're going to have. They're kind of in like a semi-rebuild where they have Kyler. They didn't really know what they're going to do with them. Their defensive personnel, not a lot of names on that side of the ball to be, terrified or afraid of. So I do think this is an opportunity for them to, either be walking into third week or walking into the week 4 at like 3-0 or 2-1, which I think overall it would be, be a solid start for the Lions.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are just a weird team. I think they're, I don't know. I don't know why they're as bad as they are, I guess I should say. It seemed like Kyler had a lot going for him, and then the wheels just kind of fell off, and they wanted to get rid of him. And then
he got hurt.
He must study during 4 hours a week during the contract, and a bunch of weird stuff happened. But you do got all that cooking and Marvin Harrison, which I think he's the real deal. But once again, I think we'll just have too much manpower for him, and I think I feel pretty good about that one as well. Bottle up Kyler Murray. And we'll see what Marvin Harrison's talking about, which is fun to watch somebody that hyped up, somebody we've seen for 3 years down in Ohio. I am ready to set some NFL eyes on him, see what he looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you got the Seahawks. They obviously got a coaching change. The coaching change being our old defensive coordinator from Michigan. And for whatever reason, the Seahawks have had our number the last like 3 to 4 years. Couldn't stop them last season. They kind of was, beating us down pretty bad a couple of years ago. We was able to come back, the last part of the season or the last part of the game and kind of make it more of a game than what it was. But that's gonna be a big one. That's Monday night. I think they're putting Calvin Johnson in the Hall of Fame or
okay,
whatever they kind of want to call that. This is probably for me kind of be one of the more bigger toss ups. They're also kind of working a new coaching staff and everything. You think we should get this one, but for some reason they just kind of tend to have our number. But again, I think it's a game that we should be able to get.
Yeah, no, I think it is an interesting one, and a tale of the quarterback as well. Good Geno, bad Geno. A couple years ago, we got them early in the season as well, and before we knew that he was going to put together that type of year, and he had a career year for himself. So I think it is a little bit of a toss up, but I still honestly feel pretty good about it. I don't know if that's we're gonna lose some games. I'm not gonna have us go 17-0 here, but I feel that won't be one of them. At home, we usually keep things cooking at home, so I feel like we'll home field advantage, and we'll just kind of grind that one out.
Definitely, this is probably my least favorite part about this schedule. A bye week 5. You want that to be 10, 11, 14, just from, everybody can kind of be banged up, whatever that kind of looks like, but it is what it is. Then we go back to Jerry World. And this is what I think we're going to get them. They might try to pull something to to take the win like they did last year, but I think that's gonna be one of the things, man. I think that's something that they're gonna definitely be thinking about. The Cowboys, there's just been a lot of talk around them not signing Dak. They just signed CD and they signed him probably for 7, 8 more million than they really had to. Micah Parsons ain't been signed. They really haven't made any changes to their roster besides signing back Ezekiel Elliott and getting Dalvin Cook. I
Yeah,
feel like we've taken significant steps from a roster standpoint. So, what you think about the Cowboys game out in Jerry World?
yeah. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. I think they they do have a lot of fighting power on offense. Um, you know, and I guess receiver wise, backfield wise, those are there's not a lot of tread left on either one of those tires. And I just think so I don't know. This is a toss up for me. I'd be honest. I
For
want to give
sure.
us the win, but I think on the road, with off the bye, that gives me a little more confidence there. You can be a little more fresh. So it is kind of a toss up for me. But I wouldn't be shocked if we went and blew this one. But I do feel like we'll probably be set at. I feel like either way, after that game, we're sitting at probably 4-1. Whether
For
we,
sure.
so that after the first chunk of season, that's kind of how, yeah, that's how I see it.
Definitely. I'm with you there. Then moving on to the Vikings. I honestly don't think we got to talk about this one a ton. They got a solid defense. Obviously, got Justin Jefferson. They got Sam fucking Darnold at quarterback. So I personally feel like maybe I'd be worried if that was JJ we was going up against. But I haven't seen anything from Sam Darnold, since a couple games of the Panthers. Nothing really from his Jets days that would have me, thinking we can't go back up there and steal another one like we did, to end the season in the 10th division last year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you on that. And getting the first division dub, be good. Just get that one in the books. That's how. Either way, the road to the Super Bowl, road to winning the Super Bowl starts with winning the division. You want to get that home
Absolutely.
playoff game. You want to bank as many division wins as possible. So I agree with you. Going up to Minnesota, I feel like it's late to have your first home game or division game mid October. But I could be a little off on that, I guess. But either way, I feel pretty good about going to get that dub, first division win, and
For sure. I kind of like it though too, because it's like if you do kind of stumble, you ain't dropping a division game. You know what I'm saying? Like you can kind of get the kinks and everything figured out. I think we'll be well-oiled machine, by week 7. But that's something I just kind of thought about because then they do start to kind of roll, slowly trickle in here in the next like month and a half or so. Got Tennessee. I kind of put them in the same boat as the Cardinals. They got some pieces. Will Levis, not a big fan. It's going to be his second year. Solid quarterback, but I just once again think that I feel like we'll just have enough. I think we're just going to have a better roster given where we're trending in the upper direction. They're kind of in that like fringe, like tank rebuild mode. In my
right.
opinion.
No, the team that was I'm not worried at all whatsoever. I Will Levis is one of those random guys. Then he got the mayonnaise commercial or something. It's just or mayonnaise clone or something. He got some weird stuff happening. So no way we lose a game to mayonnaise clone boy. So I just you know feel I feel like that's the type of game that if we're built the way we think we are, if we're coached the way we're going to be, there's no way you go and lose to like you said a teeter totter team that if you tell me they go 3-14 this year, I believe you. If you tell me they
Right.
go 9-8 this year, I believe. It's just like they're like a
Right.
whatever squad. So I agree.
Yeah. One of those teams that like things will go well just kind of based on what's going on around them and what may go right for them opposed to what could go wrong for them too. So
Yeah.
yeah, you got another division matchup. This is on the road at Green Bay, November 3rd, Midwest. Never really gonna know what the weather looks like. We love Jared, but there's some times where um, you know, obviously the weather can become a factor. 425, probably gonna be game of the week. Um, I don't know. I think this could be a toss up, but I also feel like Jordan Love's getting a little bit more credit than he probably should be for having a good half a season. Definitely did his thing, against the Cowboys. I also feel like they kind of choked that game as well. So like I say, this could be a division matchup. It could be a tough one. This could be one we drop. This could be one that we come out on top on. I like to sit it, but it's one of those things that being outside always kind of plays a factor depending on what the weather could look like.
Yeah. I agree. Jordan Love is one of the guys I'm kind of on the fence about as well. I think, he put together a year this year slightly better than last year. We got to give it to him. But I do think he's in that wishy-wash, could go either way still for me category. And I think this year is a big year for him. But I hate to lump these two games together, but I think both of the next two, but both of those are big games for me. Both of them are on the road. Similar
Prime time.
fiery offenses, both prime time. I think I think I hate, like I said, I hate to group them together, but I think we go 1-1 through these next two games. I just think that's a lot of firing power. Probably two playoff teams. Probably some teams that if things go right, it definitely in the playoffs. So that's just kind of a tough stretch, but I give you that, Jordan. And like you said, on the road, golf in the weather, anything can happen.
Never
So
know.
saying out coming off this, if we are where we think we are, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7-1, 7-2. So we're trending for where we want to be.
Still sitting pretty for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, won't spend too much time on Houston. You already kind of alluded to them. You got back-to-back away games. That one Sunday night. In prime time. We're going from being a hunter to being the hunted. So we're probably circled a lot of teams' schedules. When we come into town or when they come in to play us. So like you said, that could definitely be a stretch. They go 1-1 there, but based on what we see from like the first third of the season and then against Minnesota and Tennessee, I think we'll still be sitting pretty from a record standpoint. Jaguars, I don't know, interesting team. Trevor Lawrence, he was kind of deemed like the next one. I feel like he hasn't really lived up to that. Still got paid. Congrats to him. I still just feel like we have a better roster. They've had some turnover at the receiver. At the receiving core. Never really seen enough for them defense to kind of scare me or blow me away. But I do feel like that could be, first game at home. I can see first game at home. After going on the road back-to-back weeks, that could be one that we end up getting just back off of from a home cooking standpoint.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence not a guy that scares me. Just that team in general. Not that the Lions aren't, but we're so used to them being bottom feeders. One of the things that I just think, they'll kind of piss the bed when it comes to it. So I agree with you on that. And then just winning out another back home game. A game at home, Trevor Lawrence on the road, that crowd's firing up. It's at that point where we're mid-November, people, it's primetime football season. I think so people be drooling out of the mouth at Ford Field when we're sitting there, 8-1, 7-2 heading into that game. So I think we were definitely getting that one.
For sure. Then we go to Indianapolis.
Indy.
This where the stretch get kind of tough. And I wouldn't even say from I think we could get Indianapolis. I like Anthony Richardson. I just don't think he's ready. Their team is still pretty young. But not to get too ahead of ourselves here, but then you got Thanksgiving game, and then you got, a Thursday night game after a little 10-day mini bye. So this work, things can kind of get a little interesting, but I do think we handle the Colts pretty well, just off of Anthony Richardson not being ready to, be I don't see him being like a world beating type team anytime soon.
No, I think he's a guy that is still very unproven. He clearly has a lot of the physical attributes, got a cannon on him. It's just whether he can put it together. And so whether he makes some plays against us, probably so. But I just think, like you said, just the development of our squad over the last couple of years, that's a game we get. And then that's a quick turnaround though. November 24th, 28th, 4-day break. So Thanksgiving, and then obviously
losing record Thanksgiving, 7 straight losses or something like that. We got to break that.
Yes, I didn't even realize that, but no, I agree. Every year it does feel like a heartbreak. So it's tough, and I look just the I guess kind of look at this game. 4-day turnaround. First time you're going to see Caleb Williams. For what probably a good 35, 40 million people sitting around on their couch watching it, eating some turkey. So I do think it's a lot of spotlight on you guys, but I also think they're going to want to break that losing the streak. They're going to want to go ahead and get that dub. At this point, your third divisional game, whether you lost that one at Green Bay or not, this could be kind of needed. Then
For sure.
you're Green Bay after that. So I think this is a game that I just don't believe in Caleb Williams either. He could have me completely convinced by November 28th, or I will double down on what I have to say by then. But I'm working from the glass half empty type of deal. I just don't necessarily believe in him. And this will show me a lot heading in that game. So
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, they got a revamped roster. I still feel like their offensive line has some question marks. Caleb Williams going to do all that crazy running around, how he has been, kind of been looking like how Justin Fields was, but say that for another day. I do just kind of feel like you were saying, he going to have to kind of show me. Great player, great quarterback, had a great college career. I just don't know if a lot of what he was doing that was like wowing people was going to be able to just translate how everybody thinks it is. I think him being the second coming Patrick Mahomes is also just way too much from a pressure standpoint of what he could actually be. So I'll give us that win. I think we do break that Thanksgiving streak. Like I said, we got the little mini bye here. We play Green Bay. We got a Thursday night game. This would be one where we, obviously you want every division game. We could need this one, depending on what happens November 5th. Once again, I think being at home, we're in a nice little stretch here. We got home cooking from the 28th until the 15th. And I think we're going to end up avenging that bad Thanksgiving loss we had against them last year, where they came in, stuck it to us after we, embarrassed them on their field.
Yeah, no, I'm agree with you on that. I think now is when you start to they're like preparing you for the playoff games you kind of got to win to get that seeding. Play are you fighting for first seed at this point? You fighting for second seed? You got how's that division looking? So I think this is when you start to these games could mean a lot more when you get to this. Is how good is Green Bay's record? How good is the Dallas? Did you lose to them? You need this dub. So I think this is when you'll start to see some of these games really matter and just kind of up the ante on that. But once again, back at home, I feel like the team is going to be rocking and rolling by then. So
sure. And we got Buffalo.
Bills.
I don't know.
Weird year for them. I was going to say this is a weird year for them.
Yeah, this is one of the things where it's like, I think the coach on the hot seat, they kind of just been sputtering. I feel like they always have a lot of expectations and end up just kind of, falling short. Receiving core looks different. Obviously, to be later in the season, Josh Allen's one of them guys where he can light you up for 30 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then he'll throw for 300 yards and give you 2 picks, a couple fumbles. You never really know what you're getting from him. But I like us being at home. I think we do once again avenge a loss that we had against them on Thanksgiving. I think we get some get back. Yeah.
I agree with you on that. I think just a weird year for him. I think they're putting a lot more on Josh Allen. I think they're saying, hey, we're giving you $50 million a year. Yeah. Let's see how much you can do on your own.
He's not Mahomes.
No, he's not. And I think a bit of not a rebuild for him, but maybe a possible reload where they're just kind of shuffling cards, figuring out what they're going to do in the meantime. So I agree with you. I think they could be. I wouldn't be shocked if they're sputtering around that time of year. Kind of fighting for their playoff life themselves. So
for sure. Then go to Chicago. This will be 20 seconds. There's going to be 40, 50 mile an hour winds.
Yeah, about 20 degrees.
We should have got them last year on the road. I think the secondary obviously has some issues there. I was one of the ones to say that how bad Hutch played. I feel like that is a game that we can find ourselves competing for and possibly stealing. But once again, I think that's one of the games on the schedule. Love golf, but you just never know what you're gonna get when that weather's looking kind of funky.
It does kind of look like a mini trap game. You're on the road in probably the worst or second worst outdoor stadium to play in mid to late December. Yeah. And then on top of that, you're looking at a week after that headed out to San Francisco to play a team is going to be in the playoff hunt or possible Super Bowl type team.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a mini game where we could be looking ahead. We could be, like you said, it could be 40-mile-an-hour winds and 17 degrees and snow that day. And,
Mhm.
we got a flight to San Francisco next week, please. Like we don't. And so I agree with you. That could be, but that would show me a level of how locked in the team is in. And, is that a Devontae or David Montgomery game where we just, we're feeding him, letting him go
Yeah,
back to work squad, or how do we look? How do we handle that? I guess,
for
and then
sure.
with a big game on the back burner of that San Fran game, that's
Yeah,
gonna.
no, for sure. And I think I'm just when it comes to San Fran, they ain't got Trent Williams in camp. Brandon Ayuk was supposed to be at practice today, didn't show up. Debo Samuel still can't run routes. I just
Yeah,
feel like it has to
it's
be bite
boiling
to the
over.
apple since
Yeah,
like 2019. Some of these teams, they start to kind of run out of gas. I personally feel like I can see them easily being a 10-7, 9-8 team just because of all of like the fatigue, like physical, mental fatigue of getting all the way to the brink and not being able to pull it through. And I do think Dan Campbell gonna be foaming at the mouth, just trying to do whatever we can to, win that game because that could have 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed implications written all over it.
no, I agree. And then I mean they have a lot of interesting things happening in their camp, and one of those things where, like you said, they've been at the door for
Yep.
3-4 years, and we just arrived to the door last year. So it was kind of a race to are they kind of with the Bills as well? They've been there and not really. So I think it's the upward swing of where we are and the kind of the downward swing of where they've been. And so I agree with you. I'm looking the team. I feel good about that one, but also you tell me we having them and Dallas both on the road. I think is highly weird. Two teams
It's
that
tough
yeah. So that's tough for us. But
for sure.
I'll put that one in the toss up category for me personally. And
Definitely.
then the last division game to be announced. Minnesota. So kind of what's your thoughts on Minnesota coming to town, last game, bow tie on the season?
I think, every division win, is huge. I mean, I think we needed this one last year. We needed to beat them last year just to um we won the division on the road a couple weeks prior, but this could very well be one that we absolutely need. This could be a game that catapults them into the playoffs. Like it's something we, division rival, never take them, you always gonna take them serious. Like I said, I just feel like who's that quarterback? Might be Nick Mullins by that point of the season. We've seen him multiple times. Revamp defense, revamp secondary. Not saying I don't take nobody on this schedule serious, but I do feel like that's a game that we should easily be able to get.
No, I agree with you on that. A team they could be eyes looking forward to who they're about to draft at that point.
Right.
Put a fork, they're done at that point. So no, I agree. And I just think looking back, we got about 30 seconds left here. Just looking back at the whole season, I think, a lot of dubs on this upcoming season coming up for us. So, I'm not sure how you look, but I feel pretty strong in that 12-5, 13-4 range
Sure.
for our dear Detroit Lions here.
Yeah, like I said, I think anywhere from 11 to 13 wins